Hello, welcome to Sunday Chat with Nick. Let's see if I can send out the invitation. And if you get the invitation and you can't make it, no big deal, okay? I just want to make sure that people understand that it's not a big deal if you cannot make it for whatever reason. But I will send out 2 invitations, and then hopefully at least one of the invitees would be able to join me, and then see where we go from there. Good morning, everybody. Football season kickoff. I'm drinking my iced coffee. As a Steelers fan, it was not a good opening day. You know, the Kronk is a monster, okay? But still, I had to say that his first touchdown, that was just piss poor tackling and lazy. I don't know what to say. When I watch the replay of that first touchdown, every time I watch it, I'm just like, what the heck was those 2 Steelers doing? Jogging? I see lack of effort. I did not expect the Steelers to win the game, so not a big deal. You know, I'm a Steelers fan, but I think as I get older, I become less of a hardcore fan because, to be honest, hardcore fans can drive me crazy because most are fanatical, borderline unreasonable, and I just don't like to deal with unreasonable people in any kind of circumstance. If that makes any sense. I'm a level-headed kind of guy, and I used to be a hothead in my younger days, and the older I have gotten, the less I like the hothead side of me. But to kick off this week, let me see. I got something in the mail a couple days ago that got me really excited, just for the fun of it. We just had an incredible auction at Comic Link that I did the recap for both the comic books portion and the original art portions. And in the mail, I got Comic Connect catalog for the next auction. Both Comic Connect, well, Comic Link, Comic Connect, and Heritage, you know, you don't need to know much of what is going to be offered in the auction. But the moment that you see the covers, right, you know right away. You see this, Tech 31. And then look at the background. You get Batman, Superman 1. Oh, before I even flip through the page, it's going to be a doozy, right? I'm telling you, I can't wait to do a recap for this auction. Is going to be, the session will be September 28th through October 2nd. So 2 weeks from now, give or take. Unbelievable selection. You know, I usually just go with Metro because Comic Connect is Metro. Metropolis is a bigger, more recognized name, I guess. You know, so I tend to just call it Metropolis or Metro instead of Comic Connect. Just shorten it. But inside, my goodness, just eye candies. Eye candies, I'm telling you. That's just so much. You know, I'm gonna try to jump into the meat part of this catalog. Oh, the way Comic Connect set up their auction is the unlike Comic Link that do the original arts at the end. Comic Connect does the opposite. They put the original art portion in the beginning, much like Heritage. And then on the second day of the auction, that's when you get, you know, the book. And right there, Action Comics 13, a restore copy, but there's a whole lot of goodness there. Look like there's a couple All-Star 8. Look at that. One here and one here. A 2.5 copy and a 5.5. Look like the 2.5 is not a blue label. It's a green label. I'm not a big fan of green label, but Amazing Fantasy, 4 copies. Insane. A 7.5, a 7.0, a 5.5, and a Restore 8.0. The book is not rare, okay? The demand is there. A lot of people love Spider-Man, but let's get this straight. It's not rare. Oh my goodness. You know, one thing I did notice in the last few auctions, at all the auction house, it is a lot of CBCS as well as PGX. I'm surprised, you know, maybe I didn't notice it for a long time, but now I start to notice that PGX has made their way into the big auction house. You know, maybe the day of CGC dominance and exclusivity at the auction house are no longer there. Competition is good. Look at this. There's some high-grade doozy. There's a 9.4 Spider-Man with Dr. Doom, and then a 9.6 First Doc Ock. Oh boy, that's gonna go for some crazy money. Even Archie #1. This auction is gonna be insane. You know, the Comic Link auction was humongous in scope, but this one might not have as many books, but it have a lot bigger books, bigger. Is that Avengers 9.0, Avengers 1 9.0? Let me see. Oh boy, there's so much, you know. For those that never seen the catalog by Comic Connect, it's very well done. I mean, they put heavy, thick, glossy paper, lots of pictures, and then for the big books, you know, you get the showcase for yourself, like a single page like this. Look at that. 2 Batman #1. You got Batman 1 2.5 and a Batman 1 Restore 7.0. Woo! Beauty. As far as the video, for those that are watching, I'm not sure. Hopefully, I will figure out how to look at comments. I still haven't figured out how to monitor the comments that's going on with the chat at the same time, but I think I have it set up this time where I think I can see it. So hopefully for those that make any comments, I can see it. Let's look at this. Justice League, Brave and Bold 28, 8.0. Tough book to find in that kind of grades. Okay, so that's impressive. Here's a killer. Second appearance of Batman. Even though he's not in the cover. You know, for those that are not familiar, in the early days of Detective, from Detective 27 to 36, Batman cover was only every other month. The power at DC hasn't fully believed that Batman can draw in the readers on a monthly basis to put him on the covers, right? I think that's the reason. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Detective 28, 5.0. But here, look at this. Issue 29. Look at that. Awesome. 7.5, and then This is going to be the one that everybody's going to be watching. A 5.0 Tech 31. It's a nice looking one. Even nicer than the one that Ben used to own. Oh, what a beauty. This one probably would have been a lot higher if not for that like an 1.25 to 1.5 inch spine split right here. Beautiful copy. Very well centered, pretty nice looking. And then there's another, there's two copy actually. There's a Tech 31 incomplete also. So for the bargain shopper, let's see how this one will go, right? The last time there was a 0.5 copy. It went pretty high. I'm not sure if it's the same copy. I need to double check my record. But, and then there's a 36, issue 36. Pre-Robin text galore. Look like a lot of pre-Robin text. And then how can we not look at this? 8.5 FF1. This one though has the sun shadow. Can you see it? It's a sun shadow. Not as attractive as the other copy at the Heritage. I think Heritage copy was much prettier. Sun shadow on an 8.5, a big one nonetheless. So there you go. That's, you know, this is insane. You got an 8.0 Hook one. Wow. White page nonetheless, unrestored. That's gonna go for mega money. So yes, look at that. Even a couple of showcase 4.0 galore. Okay, galore. Is this mega keys galore? But then again, you're talking about Metro, the big boys. Okay, Superman 2.0. Boy, do I want that copy. I want it, but my wallet say no. Even a 9.8 Werewolf by Night, 32 First Moon Knight. So Metro are bringing out gun blazing. Okay, you're talking gold, silver, modern, bronze. Something for everybody. Something for everyone that have money. Unbelievable. But I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that auction. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Well, since it is right now it's 11:10, what I would do is wait another 5-10 minutes, and if the two people that I invited cannot make it to the chat, then I will invite other people. You know, it's nothing wrong with that. If not, I will keep talking to myself for another 15-20 minutes and then sign off. You know, I understand it's football season, so I'm on the low rung of priority for many people. But to me, the live chat, hopefully, what I hope to get out of it is to get to know other YouTuber better, you know, because it's one of the few times where I get to chat and get to know other people. So to me, it's a perfect vehicle to invite people that subscribe to me, that comments over the past few months or years to jump in and chat with me. And I get to know them better, and you all get to know them better. And it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about comic books. Oh, Brian's here. Hi, Brian. I saw you. Brian, I got your message. I did invite 2 people, and I will give it another few minutes, another 5. If they don't show up, I would maybe you can jump in and we can talk about Daredevil, because I think you have seen by now, I'm guessing you have seen all the episodes. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts about Daredevil. But yes, I have sent out 2 invitations, and so far they have not logged in. So I don't know if they are going to. But if they don't, within 5 minutes, I will send you the invitation, and you can jump in and we can have a chat. But that's how it's going to work going forward. Going forward, what I would do is, I will try to invite a few people that express interest in joining the chat, and for whatever reason, if they can make it, then other people are welcome to jump in, even if they appear last week. As a rule, as I mentioned in my previous chat, that if you appear in the chat, then next week you will not be invited in the first wave. So it's to give other people a chance. But if nobody care to join, then you are welcome to join in. The same thing with Anthony. If Anthony's watching this and want to jump in, let me know. I had a great chat with Anthony 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure we can talk a whole lot more. So how's everybody on Sunday? You guys all getting excited about football? Now that my team already played and lost, I will have a better time watching the game this afternoon, because I have nothing at stake and I can just turn on the game and watch it with Anthony. It's kind of fun that Anthony has taken interest in football since late last year, up until mid-season of last year, until we bought Madden 25 for the Xbox that we have. Up until that point, he's shown little interest. Sure, he liked to throw the football around with me, and actually Anthony's pretty good at throwing the football for a little guy. I'm trying to see if I can get my wife to videotape he and I throwing the football around, because he's pretty good at throwing for a little guy. He's impressed me with his arm strength and the spin that he can put on the ball. It's fun to throw the ball with Anthony, but until last Christmas or so, he's shown zero interest in watching any games. But ever since last Christmas, he loved it. I'm not sure what his favorite team is. It wavered between the Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. He liked the Patriots because of his siblings, his relatives. My whole family is in Boston area, so all his cousins are Patriots fan. Boo. So he liked the Patriots, but he also liked Seattle Seahawks. He loved the Beast, and he loved Sherman. One of Anthony's favorite saying is "You mad, bro?" It's funny to hear him say that. "You mad, bro?" So it's at this stage of his life, at 8 years old, I don't care what his favorite team is, and I just like the fact that he enjoyed football enough to sit down and watch the game with me on Sunday. That's all it matters. Okay, so it's 11:15. The time is up. Okay, Brian, I will send you an invitation. If you want to jump in, you're welcome to. Okay, here we go. I'm inviting Brian. As far as anything else, the thing that got me the most excited about movies is the progress with Blade Runner 2. I am a big fan of the first Blade Runner movie, and I am extremely excited. Ooh, we got the horror host of Hogger, Brook. Brook, if you want to jump in the chat, you are welcome to join me. If you do, let me know, because right now we have Brian, and look like the other two people I invited may not show up. Nate is still sleeping in California. It's okay. Same thing with TiVo, both Californians that expressed interest in joining me. But in the future, I would love to have TiVo, another Vietnamese. I don't know that many Vietnamese that collect comic books, so it's neat to have other Vietnamese in the hobby that I can chat about. So one of these days, hopefully, I can get TiVo in the live chat in California. Oh, okay, Brian, I see you. You're gonna have to turn down the volume of my chat. TiVo, both Californians that expressed interest in joining me. In the future, I would love to have TiVo, another Vietnamese. I don't know that many Vietnamese that collect. I'll be right back. The phone's ringing. It's neat to have other Vietnamese in a hobby that I can chat about. So one of these days, hopefully, I can get TiVo in the live chat. California. Oh, okay, Brian, I see you. You're gonna have to turn down the volume of my chat. TiVo, both Californians that expressed interest in joining me. I would love to have. Okay, I'm back. TiVo, another. I'll be right back. The phone's ringing. A little hectic. Okay, look like okay, let's see. I'm gonna invite the Brook. Look like he wants to join in. That would meet the quota of 3 people. So sorry, Nate. Next time, buddy.
That work?
Okay, we in. You in? I saw the Daredevil that you were showing. There you go. Great book. So, let me hear what you think of the TV show. Oh no, I can't hear you.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. I started watching after we chatted last week, and right now I made it through, I think, episode 10. I made it through the part where Kingpin came in and beat the you-know-what out of Matt Murdock, and he jumped out the window.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I'm glad you took my advice and teaser advice to watch the show. So did you like? So what do you think? Are you glad that you watched the show?
Yeah, and I keep comparing him to Batman. All the similarities of Batman and how Matt Murdock is feeling about the city, and from all the Batman shows, I guess the villains, they kind of look like they're the good people, and I just don't know how it's all going to come around. And it's really good. I mean, I compare it to kind of Gotham. I know a lot of people around here don't like Gotham, but I like the backstory that's coming out with all these characters.
Yeah, it's I'm glad that you decide to jump in after resisting.
I don't know how the Punisher and the new characters are supposed to fit into it, but I'm definitely hooked and looking forward to seeing how they're going to handle I guess the Punisher's next, right? That he's going to show up in the next season.
No, the Punisher is going to fit in really well because he's. I said this for so many videos now that I think Punisher is one character that should be on TV more than big screen because he doesn't need a lot of special effect. He's just an average guy with good shooting skills.
Well, I don't know a lot of backstory about the Punisher. So to me, even Daredevil, I mean, I think of Daredevil as the Ben Affleck movie when I watched it in the 90s or whatever. So I really was never a fan of, I guess, Daredevil in comics, but now I can see how that's going to push me to find stories and things like that about the Daredevil.
Yeah, if you don't have a lot of Daredevil comic books, and if you just want to buy like the reprint to read, get the omnibus that focus on the Frank Miller run.
Right.
That's all. That's awesome. I mean, sure, if you go back and buy the Silver Age stuff with, the Silver Age Daredevil is more about Gene Colan arts.
Right.
But
I think that's why I had this issue. Isn't this like a key issue where Elektra is killed or something?
Mm-hmm.
181.
Yeah.
Daredevil 181.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I have that one. But it took me by surprise. You talked about Walking Dead, and he's like, I don't like horror movies and things like that. And it's some of the, I was in watching Daredevil. I'm like, oh my God, I had jumped on some of them, especially when Kingpin's closing the car door and the one guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, how about the part where that guy self-impale himself with
I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was the first time that I said to myself, this series is not going to hold back anything.
No, and it's good.
So I'm glad it's not excessively violent. Sure, there's maybe 3 or 4 scenes where you just cringe.
Right.
But overall, it's well done.
Yeah, I enjoyed it tremendously. And I know last week we had talked about different shows and things like that. And one, I guess, that wasn't brought up, or the new Battlestar Galactica. I thought that was real well done from the old series, the campiness of the 1980s series. And I remember when that show first came out, everyone was like, oh my gosh, we can't have a woman that's Starbuck and all that. But I think that blew everybody's expectations out of the water, because I thought that was one of the most well done shows in a long. I want to say that was probably the first time that the television series really, I don't know, build upon something that already existed or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the Battlestar Galactica new series a lot, and it was sad to see it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not thrilled about the ending, but that's for another show.
Okay.
I like the show, but the last season, I'm just like, it frustrated me. There's a lot of things about that last season. I'm just like, man, they are taking it down a path that I don't like. But the last season, and they need to wrap up things,
Right.
And I just like how they wrapped up many of the storylines, and I'm just like, but overall, I enjoy and watch every one of those episodes. So I'm a big fan of that, and I'm glad that you get to watch Daredevil, finish it up. And you can definitely, this 3 more episodes for you.
I think I guess.
Look like I lost Brian there for a second. If John, Dr. Von Schiller, if you're watching, I see that you are there. If you ever set up to join a chat in the future, let me know. But Brook, if you're still watching, I did invite you, so check that email out, because I did send you an invitation to join. I'm not sure if you got it or not, but I will see if I can send you another one. Okay.
Sorry, Nick.
That's okay. Technical difficulty. But
I guess what will I get to see Daredevil in his costume before the end of the season, or is that a spoiler alert?
Well, you will. It's a spoiler, but it's not. I can't wait to have you come back another time to tell me what you think of the costume.
Okay.
I can tell you, at first I didn't like it.
Okay.
But by the time that episode show up, I like it. I didn't love it, but I like it enough because it fit in the way they make it. I think it was well done how they tie in his costume into the storylines.
Okay.
It's not like, I think that's what's clever about the show is, I love a show where they they make things fit, even though that's not how the comic book storyline were.
Mm.
It's well done. It's not like Daredevil will sit at home and in his blind. I'm gonna sew together a costume. I'm gonna do this. It wouldn't make sense.
Right.
But so I wait for you to see that part. But my favorite episode might be your favorite. Also, is the one where Stick show up.
Oh yeah, he was very good. I liked him. He's pretty.
Yeah. I like Scott Glenn a lot. He's just one of those guys that for whatever reason, I liked him from the first time I saw him in The Right Stuff, maybe. And then Silence of the Lamb.
Right.
One of my favorite all-time movie. He was fantastic in that movie. So yeah, over the years, I'm a big Scott Glenn fan. Whatever small roles he has. So when he showed as Stick, I want more. I want a lot more of Stick.
And that's why I'm kind of glad I don't know a lot of the lore, I guess, of Daredevil from comics. So maybe that's why it's like watching it for the first time, on this. Like I said, I seen the Ben Affleck movies. I didn't really care for them then, but not knowing the history and the backstory, I guess, in comics, I guess I don't have any expectations going into watching it. So
yeah.
Are all the characters like Stick and all those other people in the comic books?
Yes.
Are they?
Absolutely. So if you
I like his friend too. Is it Foggy?
Foggy, yeah. Foggy, Karen is all in the comic books from the very beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so those characters have been. I won't give you the spoiler what happened to them later, but all of the main characters that you see were a mainstay of Daredevil supporting cast.
Okay.
For decades, and even Stick. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's good that you. Actually, it's great that you're seeing it without knowing much about the comic book background.
Right.
Because you don't have any preconceived. Preconceived ideas. Sometimes some people are like, oh, this is what happened in the comic books, and they change it, and I don't like this and don't like that. And to me, the show is just so well done that I'm okay with them mixing up the backstory to make it fit into the show. And yes, so Stick is a big part of the comic books. Karen is a huge part of the comic books. Foggy Nelson is a huge part of the comic books.
It kind of makes me want to, get more involved in looking for some of the stories with all those characters together. And like you said, the backstory of Daredevil. I'm sure they've redone the backstory in comics.
They have. In fact,
so I don't know if I should go all the way back to the, the first ones in the Golden or Silver Age as opposed to.
No, it doesn't work. I would suggest buying the omnibus reprint of the Frank Miller run.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here Brook is here.
Hey guys.
Hello.
From the UK.
Hi Brian.
We are in a different continent now.
Yeah. No technology. Huh?
Yes, I did. In fact, one of my earliest live chat was with Brook about Daredevil. So he's a big Daredevil fan also, and Brian here, if you pay attention to the chat so far, we convinced him to watch Daredevil last week, and he went through the first 10 episodes so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sure Brook will agree with me that it's an awesome show.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, compared to a lot of the shows, comic book related TV shows, I think it's just it's a bit more daring.
Punny.
Yeah, no, it's good. It is really good, and yeah, I'm looking forward to Jessica Jones. That comes out soon. I think that's November.
When will the next Daredevil be out? I mean, I hate to get through this first season and then be like, oh my gosh, how long do I have to wait for the new episodes? But do you know when the new Daredevil season's slated?
No, there have not been any kind of formal announcement.
Oh, okay.
In fact, they are still shooting it right now. But if I have to guess, I am guessing that we are not going to see a Daredevil second season until the end of next summer.
Oh, wow.
Really?
If I have to guess, because don't they supposed to put out Jessica Jones and then Luke Cage?
I don't know about that. I think it's definitely Jessica Jones, and then it might go back to Daredevil, and then it might be Luke Cage. I'm not sure.
Yeah. You know, it all depends on how soon they finish Daredevil, because Daredevil is such a hot property.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix, you know, went into production literally the week after they launched the show. As soon as the show was launched and the critics and the viewer blow up and everyone love it, they signed on to do the second season. So it's in high gear production right now. Whether they can get it done by the beginning of the summer, my guess is that's about the earliest you're gonna see.
Yeah.
Because Netflix do have other shows. I think like isn't House of Cards season 4 supposed to come out also?
Yeah, that's getting ready to start. I heard.
Yeah, so they kind of pace out their new shows, right? They don't want to like launch everything at the same time and waste it. So it's like one big show every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke and I have not chat since we have our first chat. So Brooke,
Yeah.
without spoiling the last 3 show for Brian,
Yeah.
what did you think about all the episode up until episode 11? Did you like?
I watched it kind of the first 4 or 5 on a weekly basis because we were doing the video chats, and then I just watched I think about 6 in a row. So they kind of merged into one. So I can't really remember which one's which at this point, but it does. I think when you start, I'm not going to explicitly say, but when you start to see main characters get into trouble, I think that's when, it gets good. I think it would be great to have more courtroom scenes and more, and I'm sure they'll go into that a bit more, using their kind of their lawyer practice, building up a bit more.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's the only thing I would ask for in season 2 a bit more.
Yeah, it's like I said, season 1, you know, as good as season 1 was, the best thing about that is it left so much room to get better.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, because you know like I said, we touched on this topic last week with Jorge, that you know it come across as a low production value show, and in many ways, as I mentioned last week, I understand, because this is a huge risk on Netflix. You know, they the one that had to spend the money to pay Marvel, and then to go out there and spend the money, and you know, who knows what the Netflix business model is. But you know, they're taking a chance, and it works. So maybe second season will have a higher production value. But to me, even that doesn't matter to me. To me, the budget, if they keep it dark and simple, that's just fine. The story itself has been so well done, and the acting has been so well done that I can live with the low production quality. You know, if that's...
I don't think it felt too low. It's obviously not in the same territory as James Bond, or you know, in terms of cinematography, but they still, you know, the fight scenes were great. So
yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, I mean, that to me, like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a lot of fancy flying hovercraft and spaceship and
real slick,
right?
Yeah.
Really,
shiny.
I have a hard time sitting there and watch Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's just... So the production, you know, to me is not that important. Now, Brooke, do you watch Gotham?
I actually watched the first episode. We have it on a channel here in the UK that's quite small, and it doesn't get many viewership. So I don't know what happened. They did a lot of promotion. I remember seeing it a lot on buses. I watched the first episode. I can't say it grabbed me, and therefore I didn't continue watching it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I watch it. My wife and I watch it, and I actually like it enough that I watch. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but I like the look of the show. I like the tone of the show as far as the way they make everything look. It look good. It look That one looks slick in a non-slick way. It doesn't have the fancy Asian or Shield thing, but there's a certain look of the show that appeals to me.
Yeah, I love it too. I agree.
It looked like a Batman comic books.
Yeah, I probably should give it another chance. I think the only thing that put me off was I watched a lot of the OC growing up. So whenever I see what's the actor's name? I always think of him as Ryan because that's what he was. Yeah. So I just see Ryan.
I know what you're talking about. I mean, I don't watch a lot of the OC. In fact, I skipped the OC because of him. Because of all the CW pretty people. I skipped them. But I'm okay. To me, he's not the best part of the show.
Okay.
To me, Brian, what do you think is the best part of Gotham?
The tone. I like the production value. And I like learning about the characters. And I know that's probably not, a lot of people don't like that, going back, showing the characters young and when they were kids. But I like the backstory with all the different characters in the show.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the tone, the look. I'm okay. I like the daring chances that they're trying to make with all the backstory.
Right.
The only issues I have is they are trying too much. Like, I don't need to see the young Poison Ivy, the young Catwoman, everything young knowing each other. It's just like they have thrown them all in, like they were born,
right?
They came from the same neighborhood kind of thing. I'm just like, they should have held back, slower intro of these young characters. I would have been much better off, I think, going that route instead of like throwing in 5 villains in the younger days, bumping into each other already. It's just, to me, that's just a little too convenient.
I kind of like the interaction with Alfred and Bruce Wayne as a younger kid. I like that storyline, I guess. Too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people hate that. A lot of people hate that young Bruce Wayne and being trained by Alfred. But I'm just like, I like it. I'm with you. I kind of like that because, to me, it's just like, okay, how does young Bruce Wayne turn out to be Batman the way the comic books had him, right? To me, I like the idea that, Alfred was a badass.
Yeah, he is.
And so Brook, we are spoiling it for you right here.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Alfred was a Zen master.
Right. He was the name of the guy. I recognize him. He's a British guy. I recognize him from some films.
Yeah, he's good. Alfred was Stick.
Okay.
He was a stick for Batman, to the young Bruce Wayne. So I like that. So I agree with Brian. To me, that was a good take for me. My problem is not with that character. So overall, I like it more than the average viewer. I heard a lot of hate.
Now, not to switch gears, do you like The Flash or Arrow, Nick?
I watch them all.
Okay. I really like The Flash too. I think that's well done too. I mean, it's kind of campy, some of the stuff, but I like the stories that Flash is trying to tell.
Yeah. I like Arrow a lot until this season. Brooke, will you watch Arrow?
No, we don't get it on the main
Okay,
channels.
so you don't mind if I spoil it for you?
No, go for it with Arrow. I got a lot of catching up if I ever go.
What
Go,
isn't Arrow on Netflix? If you have,
it might be. I've not looked.
look, I'm pretty sure it is on Netflix. But you can watch season 1, 2, and 3 on Netflix. But my problem with Arrow is I like it, but they are cramming in so many characters. Oh, I'm like, do I need to see the Atom? Do I need to see? It's just like an overload, a cluster F of characters, and what I thought that whole unfolding of Raj of Ghul storyline,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that. It's I like the ending where how they have closure at the end of last season, and McQueen looked like he's gonna move on to a more simple life, driving down the road with his love, right?
Right.
That's fine with me, but I just didn't like how Ra's al Ghul was killed. It kills me. I'm just like, come
What?
on, why do you have to do that? You kill Ra's al Ghul? I'm like. They make it so as if like Ra's al Ghul is just like a figure where he can be replaced by anybody. And I'm just like it's like kind of things like mind blowing. Like what?
Yeah.
So
We don't have it in the UK. I've just checked.
yeah, so like
Mhm.
I was happy that they brought in the Lazarus Pit, right? So that was cool that they had the Lazarus Pit. And I just like, why do they have to kill Ra's al Ghul? I don't get it, and so, as far as Flash is okay. A lot of people love Flash more than Arrow. I watched the show. The only thing that
They cram a lot of characters in Flash too, or a lot of.
exactly. It's once again, to me, it's just like, can we have a storyline where it's like one villain that appear in 2 or 3 episodes, more complex storyline, instead of just like every week, oh, this event create another guy with a different power, let's put him in a jail. Next, it's just, to me, it's somewhat repetitious.
Right.
And that's my biggest problem with Flash. I like the backstory with the Reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part of the show. As far as a weekly villain, woo! Oh, I had problems. Major problem.
Is this why all the Flash books are now hot
Oh
books?
yes.
Because there are so many characters and so many villains.
Oh, it's the
Now I look and I just see I don't know, Boomerang. I don't know much about these characters, but
oh my god.
no, Pied Piper or something like that, isn't there? Is he
Yeah.
one of the
Pied Piper, I remember him.
Yeah, it's and then the team of hot and cold, fire and ice or whatever, and they're gonna be in legions of whatever other spin-off show. Like I said, that show has spawned off so many hot books alert. It's a cluster F of just like, what piece of garbage can I bring out for this new episode? Let's bring out fire and ice, and let's bring out Garbage Man next. It's just like, because in many ways the DC universe is saying we are keeping the A-lister for the movies.
Right.
So if you want to introduce new character, go pick from the garbage can, okay? So all the TV show is doing is like the same thing with Marvel. Marvel's doing the same thing with Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. They pick and choose all the best characters and save up for the big movies, right? And then what you have left is C-listers,
I'm not complaining though. My wife said to me the other day, she's like, for the past 5 or 6 years, every time we go to a movie, it's a superhero movie or a geek flick or something like that. She's like, it's like taking over now, and I'm like, well, I'm not complaining. I like those types of movies, but the whole trend is, change. I think even I read a thing on the other day. They said Steven Spielberg was saying how all these movies are going to come to a head, and it'll be like westerns to where they'll die off quickly or something. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it seems to be a lot of the movies are going this way, and I don't know if it's just a passing phase or genre with movies, but I'm not complaining because I like all these movies.
I think it's definitely a passing phase where eventually we are not going to have 5 superhero movies a year.
Right.
It might come down to 1 or 2 good one and 1 or 2 bad one. It's here to stay. There's room in the consumer wallet to go pay and see. I had this analogy so many times whenever I debate with people about superhero movies, is that they make 5 romantic comedies movie every year.
Yeah.
And they're all the same. They all have happy endings. So why do they keep making them and people keep going to see them? Because there are a segment of viewers that will continue to go see them even though they know the ending.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same thing with superheroes movies. Sure, we might not need 6 or 7 movies every year, but hey, give me 1 or 2 good ones, I will pay. We have a lot of people watching and joining so far, so thank you for Sushi X, Dr. Von Schiller, Ron Chang, Greg's Comic Book Corner. We have fandoms out there.
Have they got any questions?
Just a whole lot of hellos. Dr. Von Schiller would love to join one of these days when he figured out how to do his.
Yeah, let's buy John a webcam.
Yes, well, exactly. He need a webcam or a computer that have a webcam. So one of these days when he have a webcam, he can join, or he can always join by Skype and not have his visual thingy.
Yeah, just voice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another way. So as far as buying, guys, are you guys buying anything lately? As far as comic books related stuff?
Yeah.
I haven't, but Brook, feel free.
I was gonna let Brian go first there. I put in basically. I was talking to Joel about this briefly. Was that I feel like I go to the same website and buy. Basically, it's a really good dealer in the UK, and I just go to the same website. He grades really strictly, and he's got such a wide range of books, and I just tend to just go there. And the other place I go is the CGC chat forums, and mainly because they'll do a better deal than eBay. And anywhere else, there just is a lack of resources here in the UK. And seeing some of the other YouTubers that go into the local Comic Cons and the amount of shops in the US, I get very jealous. So I tend to just buy from the same place and see if he has any new stuff in. I think I bought a few different. I bought a Bronze Age Thor off the back of seeing some of John's videos, because it was one of the ones with the borders, so kind of 1970s one. I got the list up. But apart from that, yeah, I've just been looking at a lot of kind of Thors from Kirby's run, just looking at the artwork in there, and they're just very affordable. And
yeah, they are. And Brook, if you ever want to buy and ship to my place first, to accumulate enough for safe on shipping, and then I ship a bigger box to you in the UK, I have done it for a lot of people. Okay. I have done it for many friends in the UK, as well as Italy. Because shipping is so expensive. Shipping 1 or 2 books can cost you $15. It's just insane. Okay, so I'd rather, if you are patient enough to let 6 or 7 or 8 books accumulate, or 10 books, then I've done it for Showman 88. So for sure, yes, the CGC forum is a wonderful place to buy.
Yeah.
Because A, you have very good sellers there. For the most part, people know how to grade.
Yeah.
And they take returns just like eBay. Okay, so if you're not happy, it's not a problem of returning it.
And incredible shipping. The amount of effort they kind of go into. And they don't much anything extra, and just very, very. It's been great. It's been great.
Except with Brian. Brian, you know, if you're not a member of the CGC forum, I highly recommend joining that forum.
Okay.
And because you have, for the most part, okay, there's always one or two bad apples there, but for the most part, you have sellers that are good with grading, sellers that are good at packaging. So you're not going to have this half-ass eBay effort that ding up your books. And the pricing, because you know a lot of the people that sell in the CGC forum, there's an unspoken understanding that since you are selling not on eBay, you don't have a 10% fee.
Mm-hmm.
So people tend to sell them cheaper than eBay because they pass the saving on to the buyers. You know, so often you see things easily 10% lower than the average eBay price. And you know, I sold plenty of stuff in the forum myself, and I price it very cheap. You know, if for those that follow me in that forum, you know me, I sell real cheap because you know, I have very good friends there that will buy from me repeatedly, and you know, I have talked to John many times about this. And I'd rather sell 400 books to 5 people to send out 5 packages than selling those same books on eBay and ship out 85,000 packages. You know, so yes, for sure, do that. For me, I buy nothing.
You've got everything you need. We know. We know that.
Brook, does Brook buy a lot of older comics? You don't buy a lot of newer comics? So that came out last week in our chat.
That's right. Yeah, I was watching last week. I'm definitely in the kind of older silver to bronze age category. I occasionally get modern, but I don't keep up with it. For me, there's so much in history that I need to catch up on before I can kind of keep up to date with what's going on weekly, monthly, and again, it's down to having. I think there's one comic book shop in the city I live, and I've been in there a couple of times. Just not very welcoming, really. You kind of get put off straight away. So, yeah, it's that lack of kind of community in where I live as well.
That's how we're spoiled, Nick. I guess being in the United States, I guess I would assume I guess that's where comics generated from or were real big into. I'm not for sure.
Well, you know, comics form arts in panels, as we call it, you know, for the old-timer, panelology.
Yeah.
Panelology. Actually, very big in Europe, even before over here.
Oh, okay.
But there's a different view of comics in general over there. You know, it's a very different. You know, the whole collecting thing is more U.S.-centric. Sure, I think the UK is infected with the sickness now. Well, I would say now the UK has been infected since the 60s. Same thing with Canada and maybe a little bit of like Mexico. But you know, when you go to like other European country like France and Germany, you know, there's very few collectors over there. There are, but
yeah.
You know, like the stuff that I grew up reading, you know, the Tintin, the Obelix and Asterix. Sure, those comic form existed, but they're not collected the same way as we collect American comic books over here. You know.
Yeah. So over here in the UK, when I was young, I would read Dandy and Beano, which were like very kind of pulp, you know, very. Yeah, just very cheap type of comics that you'd have as kids, and that's been going since the 30s. So that's kind of the British comic book that is kind of collectible if you're into that. And then you have the what's it called? Dread 2000 AD. You know, they were the kind of British comics in the 70s that my dad was into, and he's got a whole kind of box of these that are just a mess. Yeah. But they, you know, if you're just British-centric comics, those are the kind of ones that are popular.
Yeah, you know, as far as me not buying anything, I don't have everything. But there's a lot of things I want, but
You can get a Fantastic Four #1 now. They're going quite cheap now.
I'm a copy.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
There's a lot of things I want, nothing I need. You know, I made a video that I haven't loaded yet. It's the topic is when is enough enough.
I think it should be when is Nick going to run out of video ideas? I've gone through every single comic book now, every first appearance.
Well, you know, I should have mentioned it in the last video. I have done first appearance rating on over 100 characters.
Wow.
You know, and I still have a few hundreds more.
Do you have a comic book room? I don't know if I've ever seen a video. Did you ever show a video of your entire collection or a comic?
No, I have
like
not.
a vault? Do you have like a vault in your basement or something?
I have been asked a few times to show my collections, and I wish I did a video, say 5 years ago, when I had like 13,000 books.
Wow.
It was insane. I mean, the office now, back then, there was like no room in the office. I literally had boxes. I have a very small closet. So there was boxes in the middle of the room. I have like a small love seats on the other side of this desk. But other than that, the rest of this room was boxes stacked up like 5 feet high.
Oh, wow.
And I can barely walk from the door into the chair. And I hated that. You know, that was a moment I said, enough is enough. I mean, and 80% of these books I never open again, you know, or there's no point on having them. So that was the point I said, you know, time to figure out what I want to keep and figure out what I don't need to have. So that was my beginning of selling and giving away over 10,000 of these things.
Wow.
And so now I'm down to like the core 3,000. Yeah, so I have not done a video that show my collection or my room, and there's no need to do that. It would not be impressive at all. Trust me.
That's the hard part about comics. I mean, we all like them and enjoy them, but they're real hard to, I guess, show to other people or for them to realize, you know, I guess the value to us. Because, you know, I've got friends that say, well, all you do is put it in a bag and board and put it in a box or whatever. But, you know, that's, I guess I like your videos, Nick, because you take the time out to spotlight an artist or go through some of your key issues, and I think that, you know, is a way to give back to the community, because a lot of people don't understand why we put comics in boxes and just save them.
Thank you. Well, thank you. You know, I said, you know, I talked about this many times before. You know, when I decided to make YouTube videos, I had no idea what I was gonna do. You know, because even back 3 years ago when I started doing this, I knew I wasn't buying much of anything. And so I know from the very get-go that doing haul videos is not something I want to do. Mm-hmm. Because it would be like 3 videos a year, you know. And I had so much things I want to talk about as far as a hobby, so I decided to just throw things out there. You know, I had no major plan on what I would be doing, but then a few ideas stick and people enjoy it. So ultimately, if I didn't like doing the topics, I wouldn't be doing it. So a lot of these ideas or topic is things that I like to talk about. So it just happened that some people enjoy watching them. So it's great. I love to have a bunch of people that like to watch my videos. But before I go, I just look at the clock. The 1 hour has already went by.
Wow.
Can I ask one last question? What are you going to do for your 1,000 subscriber celebratory video?
It will be a contest of champions. No, before I can go for another 10 minutes. There's a good question by Sushi X. I just had this email exchange with Dr. Von Schiller. earlier this morning about the Frank Miller Dark Knight 3. For those that follow Frank Miller, he's in bad health, and he's doing Dark Knight 3. Okay, he's only plotting the story. He's not even writing it. Okay, Snyder is writing it, and then a bunch of artists. Kubert is one of the artists that will draw the series. Are you buying it? Do you plan to buy it, or do you know anything about the series?
I think you're talking to the wrong guy here.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about the Dark Knight series for this.
So the crazy thing is they are doing get this, something like 30 variant covers.
So when you say Snyder, is that the same as the director?
No.
Who's that then?
Snyder, the comic book writer that had been writing Batman for a while.
What's his name?
Is it Scott?
Yes, Scott Snyder. He's a decent writer. I don't have any problem with that. I cringe more at the thought that they're doing 30 variant.
Are you gonna try to get them all?
I am camping out. I am going to stampede over young children to get this. There is not gonna be anything stopping me from getting these hard books. I will not be afraid to shame myself to stampede over other people to get these 30 variants to show them off because I have them. Just kidding, by the way. It's crazy, It's I don't know what the market is, Like I said, I'm not the variant chaser, so I don't know. I just thought it was a crazy. When I heard they're doing 30 different covers, I'm just like, wow, that is just insane. But I would love to buy. I hope out of the 30 variant covers, Frank Miller is doing one of them, and I will buy that one. Okay, so I'm hoping that out of all of those variant covers, Frank will do one awesome one, and I will buy that just for the sake of having that one copy. Frank Miller doesn't do a heck of a lot of work anymore, so to have something like that would be cool. So yes, I would try to buy that one copy if I can. Other than that, the other 29 covers can just go somewhere else. Won't be in my collection. And I think that should be it. It's 12:05. It's been a fun chat, gentlemen.
It's been a pleasure.
We can certainly talk a whole lot more. There's so much to talk about, but it's football season, and I'm sure people are clamoring for the pre-game show.
Go Aston Villa, Leicester. Completely different football game.
You mean the soccer?
Soccer time.
See, I don't understand where the term soccer come from.
Don't know.
To me, the term football makes sense because you kick the ball with your feet, right?
Exactly. So why are you throwing it?
And then how do Americans get the word soccer? I'm like, what is that? It's just like, what the heck is that? It's just like, I don't get it, but it's one of those mysteries that maybe someday some people will explain to me.
Yeah, maybe foosball with real people is better.
Well, anyhow, thanks guys for joining me.
It's good chatting with you.
Another fun chat. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.